Hi, hello, welcome everybody to this video of me in my January. The issue that I'm having is that January wasn't the best month for me. There were a lot of factors that all played into this. I was in the lab like 24/7 and I read 4 books. Well, I read 3 books and I listened to 1 audiobook in the lab. So today we're going to be talking about the 3 books that I read in January. Since we all know January is the first month of the year, it's usually for me also the slowest reading month. I'm not sure if anybody else experiences this. I'm still like in a slump from all of the holidays, from the reading that I did back then, New Year's, and so typically in January my reading is pretty slow, I would say, which means that this January I read these 3 books, and I'm gonna be talking about them a lot because we have a lot of time here. We can take all the time that we need in the world. Okie dokie, so let's get into the first book that I read. The Bromance Book Club. I got this book for Christmas and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna really like this book. I enjoyed the book to a certain extent. When I first started reading it, I was literally about to DNF it, but that was probably because I was in a huge reading slump and I didn't want to read. Reading a book that had characters to whom I could not relate at all was pretty hard for me. This is essentially about like a baseball player, I think. Let me check though. Yeah. So this is about Gavin, and he's like a baseball star, and his wife, Tessa, wants a divorce, and he is basically trying to like get her back, and his way of doing that is joining a book club where sports guys read romance books. It's kind of cute in a way. It's also like kind of very weird, and I wasn't really able to relate to these characters at all. So this was an okay book, but it wasn't my favorite. Now the second book of the month, I think we're gonna go with the next one that I have, which is Throttled by Lauren Asher. Now, Throttled is the first book in the Dirty Air series, which is essentially a series about 4 different race car drivers and like their way to romance. I think that's the best way I can explain it. But the first book is about Noah and Maya, and Noah is this extreme player, like 29-year-old race car driver for Formula 1, and he's like the best of the best, and he like wins every year. And Maya is like joining the Formula 1 like family because her brother is like the new team member of Noah, and so she's just coming along for the year. They immediately have like a huge amount of chemistry, like Maya and Noah, and Noah is just such a douchebag. And he's always like, okay, you know what, we have chemistry, but I'm gonna treat you like an object instead of treating you like a person. So that's what bothered me. The misogyny in these books is unbearable. The way that these guys talk, like especially like Noah, the way that he talks about Maya and women in general really, really bothered me and really made these books like unbearable for me. They're both very upfront with their attraction to each other, so I think it's like within the first 2 chapters she immediately starts to describe him as like this super attractive person, and then like one chapter after that he describes what he would like to do with her, and I was like, you just met, you know? So that made me very uncomfortable sometimes, and that's what I'm getting out of these books. Like, they're making me uncomfortable. Like, in general, the verdict of these books is uncomfortable. I think that's where I'm going to leave the review for this, actually. Uncomfortable. Next book. Okay, so the last book that I read physically is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. My roommates are here. Now, first thing you have to know about this book is that it's a YA book. So if you're expecting like spicy scenes, they won't be in this, and this is what makes it so much cuter and so much more enjoyable for me, personally, because I'm not into that stuff. It's just such a nice, comfortable book. Plot-wise, this is The Duff as a book. So if you know the movie like The Duff, where she's like, where he's like, I'm struggling so hard right now, where he is trying to help her land a guy and trying to like get her to be popular, basically. That's what's happening here, except for the fact that Wes in the book is this extremely nice character, and everybody likes him. So he's a nice guy, and he's like a warm and cuddly person.
2 hours later.
But I would say that Wes is a really nice person, and that's what makes it so much cuter. But yeah, this is essentially about Wes and Liz, and they are like childhood friends to enemies. And when Liz realizes that her childhood crush is back in town, she's like, okay, I'm gonna have to land him. And somehow her childhood crush is friends with Wes, and they're still enemies. Like, they argue about like their parking spot every day. Essentially what Liz does is she's like, okay, you know what? You can have the parking spot if you like take me to the party. And so they slowly become friends again. So this is like a friends to enemies to friends to lovers, because we all know what happens in these kinds of books, you know? We all know what happens when the guy is trying to help the girl land a different guy, and then they accidentally sort of like fall in love. Yeah. I'm sorry if that spoiled the book for you, but this is how it works. These are the rules. You can't go against the rules. And so I really, really enjoyed this book. And if you're looking for something comfortable, something little romantic, like after Valentine's Day, you need like your romance, read this book. Pick it up, read it. It's incredible. And now the last book that I read is an audiobook. It's an Audible original, so it was completely free if you have Audible. It's just like you can just download it, and it was The Stand-In. Now, this is what the cover looks like. I'm gonna put it here, but The Stand-In is essentially like, we have the like princess switch on Netflix, where you have two people that look the same and they just switch places. That's what happens in The Stand-In, which totally makes sense, you know, the name, The Stand-In, it makes sense. It's just like with a celebrity, and she's like a Chinese actress, and she switches places with essentially like a struggling girl. I'm not sure how to describe her better. And so they switch places, and she is then like going to functions for her, and of course maybe starting a little romance with like the celebrity's best friend. It's been a while, so I forgot all the names, and I'm really sorry about this, but this is a really nice audiobook. I thought it was really cute. It was really, again, cozy. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this one. It was also very fast, so I usually listen to audiobooks on like double the speed, so this was like a 3-hour audiobook that I listened to while I was like pipetting away in the lab. So yeah. So if you have Audible, just download it, listen to it. It's really nice. It's nice. Okay, so this was my January. I'm not sure because I was in such a reading slump, and now it's all better. Like, I've read a lot of more books in February already than I did in January, and I still have like half the month left. So that's really, really good again, but I'm struggling so hard when I'm in like reading slumps because nothing really helps. And for some reason, reading romances when I'm in a slump really is the only thing that I can read. Trying to get through one of those heavy fantasy books is really tough. And essentially, like, when I don't want to read, when I can't read, when I'm like in this sort of slump and nothing wants to stick to my head, then what I need is either a cute fluffy romance or like this one, you know, like a sports romance essentially. So that's what I did. I read romances, and I read more romances in February. I'm not gonna lie. So this was my reading month of January. This is gonna be like more of a short video, I think, but I hope you enjoyed it either way, and we're gonna see each other next time. Goodbye! Do you also struggle with reading slumps as much as I do? Because they are horrible. Like, what do you do? Like, if you have anything that you do against the reading slump, please tell me. Like, put it in the comments, please tell me. I want to know, because they're not fun. Because, like, if your hobby is reading and you can't read, what do you do? I don't know. Also, if I seem a little jumpy in my head and, like, weird, that's because I just had a lab cleaning and I breathed in a lot of ethanol. Like, a lot. Like half a liter worth of ethanol. Which is why I'm probably a little drunk. But you never know that. I don't know that. I'm not sure. Okay, bye!